Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all the panel members and the shareholders for the 21st Annual General Meeting of Innova Captab Limited. Proceedings of this meeting are being recorded. During the meeting, the participants would be on mute. I will now hand over the proceedings of the meeting to Ms. Niharika Shukla, Company Secretary and Compliance Officer of Innova Captab Limited. Over to you.
Good morning, dear shareholders and all the panel members present. I, Niharika Shukla, Company Secretary and Compliance Officer of the company, thank you for joining us today for the 21st Annual General Meeting of Innova Captab Limited. We are delighted to have you as a participant via NSDL facilitated video conferencing platform. This meeting is being held through video conference and other audio visual means in compliance with various circulars issued by Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Securities Exchange Board of India. The notice of 21st AGM and annual report for financial year ended 31st March 2025 have been sent electronically to all members whose email addresses registered with the company or with the depositories. In addition, physical copy of annual report have been sent to the members who have requested for the same. Further, the company has sent a letter to the shareholder whose email addresses are not registered with the company or depository participants, providing the web link from where the annual report can be accessed on the company's website. The proceedings are being recorded for compliance purposes. To ensure a smooth and organized meeting, all shareholders would be put on mute mode throughout the session. Please note that audio and video will only be activated for those shareholders who have pre-registered themselves as a speaker and scheduled to speak during the annual general meeting. Your cooperation in this regard would be highly appreciated. I would like to request our chairman, Mr. Manoj Kumar Lohariwala, to officially call the meeting to order.
Thank you, Niharika. Good morning, shareholders and all the panel members. I would like to extend a warm welcome to you all of our 21st AGM. I hereby confirm the presence of the required quorum through video conferencing to conduct the proceedings of the meeting. In accordance with the circular issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Section 103 of the Companies Act 2013. The participation of shareholders through video conferencing is being identified for the purpose of quorum. Before we move forward with today's agenda, I would like to request my fellow board members to introduce themselves. I would now like to invite Mr. Vinay Lohariwala, one of our co-founder and the managing director of the company, to introduce himself.
Good morning, everyone. I am Vinay Lohariwala, Director of the company and Chairman of the Corporate Social Responsibility Committee and Risk Management Committee of the company.
Thanks, Vinay. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Jayant Vasudev Rao, Whole-time Director of the company, to introduce himself.
Good morning, everyone. This is Jayant Vasudev Rao. I am the whole-time Director of the company.
I would now like to call upon the non-executive director and independent director to introduce themselves. Mr. Archit Agrawal.
Good morning, everyone. I am the one non-executive and non-independent director of Innova Captab.
Thanks, Archit. Mr. Sudhir Kumar Bassi, please proceed with your introduction.
Good morning. I am Sudhir Kumar Bassi, independent director of the company and chairman of the audit committee, nomination and remuneration committee, and stakeholder relationship committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudhirji. Mr. Mahendra Kotiwada, please proceed with your introduction.
Namaskar all. Good morning. I am Mahendra Kotiwada, independent director of the company.
Thanks, Mahendraji. Ms. Priyanka Dikshit Sibbal, please proceed with your introduction.
Good morning. I am Priyanka Dikshit Sibbal, independent director of the company.
Thanks, Priyankaji. Mr. Shirish Belapure, please proceed with your introduction.
Good morning. I am Shirish Belapure. I am the independent director of the company. Thank you.
Thank you, directors. We also have with us Mr. Lokesh Basin, our CFO, Ms. Niharika Shukla, our company secretary, and compliance officer, Ms. Gaurav Mahajan, partner, and Ms. Sanjam Saigal, associate director, audit BSR and company, LLP, chartered accountants. Represented the statutory auditors, Mr. Jasprit Singh Dhawan of Jasprit Dhawan and Associates, representing the secretarial auditors of the company, and Manish L. Ghia, Mr. Bhavya Gala and Ms. Manisha Talreza, representing from Messrs. Manish Ghia and Associates, scrutinizer of the meeting. I now call upon Ms. Niharika to brief the shareholders on the meeting of the formalities. Niharika.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. I will now guide the members through some key points regarding participation in today's meeting. The meeting is being held via video conference. As such, the facility to appoint proxies has been dispensed with. To ensure smooth conduct of meeting, minimize the background noise, all the members have been placed on mute. During question answer session, the name of speaker shareholder, as previously confirmed, will be announced by the moderator. Speaker shareholder must unmute their audio and turn on the camera before asking the question. If you are unable to turn on your camera, please unmute your audio and proceed with your question. To ensure clarity and better audio quality, please check your internet connection and disconnect any other devices that might using the bandwidth. If any connectivity issue arises, we will move to the next speaker shareholder and attempt to reconnect with you once all questions have been addressed. To facilitate the equal participation, we request that each speaker shareholder restrict their question to maximum 2 minutes. Non-speaker shareholder can submit their question via chat box. These questions will be addressed during the meeting alongside those asked by speaker shareholders. If any non-speaker shareholder encounters login issue or other technical difficulties, please contact the help desk number provided in AGM notice or refer FAQs on the NSDL website. The deemed venue of this meeting shall be corporate office of the company, that is plot number 320, industrial area phase 1, Panchkula, Haryana 134113. In compliance with Companies Act 2013 and SEBI listing regulation, the company had provided e-voting facility through NSDL to its member, and remote e-voting was open from Monday 28 July 2025 from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. on Wednesday 30 July 2025. Members who have already cast their vote through remote e-voting will not eligible to recast their vote at AGM. Only those members who have so far not casted their vote can vote during the AGM through NSDL e-voting portal. For e-voting instructions, please refer instruction given in AGM notice. The e-voting facility is opened during AGM and shall remain open for 30 minutes after AGM. Members may please note that as the meeting is being conducted through online mode, therefore, there will be no proposing and seconding the resolution. The company has received board resolution from one corporate shareholder appointing and authorizing their representative under Section 113 of the Companies Act in respect of 20,66,701 equity shares representing 3.61% of paid-up share capital of the company. All the documents as stated in notice and explanatory statement thereto are available for inspection during continuation of this meeting. Shareholder can write a mail at investors@innovacaptab.com for inspecting same in electronic mode. I will now hand over to our chairman to address the members.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the 21st Annual General Meeting of the Innova Captab Limited. On behalf of Innova Captab Board of Directors, I appreciate your support for the company and thank you for taking the time to join us today. I extend a warm welcome to our esteemed shareholders, board members, management team, employees, and stakeholders present here today. Before we begin, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for your continued trust, support, and belief in our company. Your presence here reflects your commitment to your shared vision and journey. Financial year 2024-25 has been a year of meaningful strides. We have not only reinforced the strong foundation we have built over time, but also we have ventured into new territories of growth across all aspects of our business. From a macroeconomic standpoint, India today stands tall as the third largest pharmaceutical market by volume, growing rapidly, supported by a resilient economy, rising incomes, and increasing healthcare awareness. The structural strength combined with the rising life expectancy and the government push for self-reliance and transforming the landscape, and we at Innova are ready to lead. As we stand at the exciting juncture, I am proud to share that our integrated business model continues to be our key strength. Whether it is trusted CDMO division, the expanding branded generic business, and our growing international footprint, we remain focused on delivering high quality, affordable medicine across geographies. A significant milestone this year has been the commercialization of our greenfield facility in Kathua, Jammu. Built with an investment of over 480 crores, this plant enhances our capacity into new product categories and advanced dosage form and strategically support our long-term expansion. It is also benefit from the central government support scheme, aiding our profitability. Our innovation engine continue to grow stronger with our DSIR approved R&D center in Baddi and an upcoming advanced R&D facility in Panchkula. We are committed to developing differentiated formulation and entering complex generics, strengthening our offering for both domestic and global markets. As we move forward, our focus remains on sustainable and scalable growth, manufacturing excellence, scientific innovation, and value creation for every shareholder. To our employees, customers, partners, and shareholders, your unwavering support is the fuel behind our continued progress. Thank you for being a part of this incredible journey. Together, let's inspire change, unlock potential, and shape a resilient future for Innova Captab. On behalf of the board, I want to thank all our employees, client, and other shareholders with their trust in us and their very generous support. And to all our shareholders, it is your encouragement and support that drives us to deliver our best every day. A heartfelt thank to you all. I now request Mr. Vinay Lohariwala, Managing Director, to address the shareholders. Following this address, Ms. Niharika Shukla will take up the agenda item as set forth in the notice convening this annual general meeting. Thank you. Mr. Vinay.
Thank you, Manoj. Good morning, esteemed shareholder, board members, and guests. It gives me immense pleasure to address you today and present an overview of a year that has been both transformational and rewarding for Innova Captab. FY 24-25 has been a landmark year for us. With strong execution and a relentless focus on operational excellence, we delivered robust growth across all our core business areas. The performance reinforced the strength of our integrated business model and sets a firm foundation for our future expansion. A key highlight of the year was the successful commencing of our greenfield manufacturing facility in Kathua, Jammu. The state-of-the-art plant with 4 independent blocks for cephalosporin, penem, penicillin, and general injectable. open doors to our new products category and dosage form. The strategic investment not only enhances our capabilities but also supports our aspiration of being a partner of choice in the global pharmaceutical value chain. Our financial result reflects the momentum. Revenue grew by 15% to 1,243 crore. EBITDA rose by 90% to 198 crore. PAT increased by 36% to 128 crore. These numbers speaks to our discipline, cost management, focus on efficiency, and ability to tap into high growth opportunity. Each business segment contributed meaningfully to our growth. Our CDMO business, the cornerstone of our operation, now contributes 53% of total revenue. Long-standing client relationship, including with our 200 partner, continue to be a key strength. Our domestic branded generic division saw 21% growth, driven by our contribution-wide reach to our 220,000 touch points. In international branded generic, revenue grew by 25%, expanding our global footprint to 30 countries, including UK and Canada. Our acquisition of Ceron has proven to be strategic, contributing 16% to consolidated revenue and strengthening our formulation and API capabilities. Looking beyond the number, sustainability continues to be at the core of our values. We are committed to integrating responsibility, ecological practices, be it energy efficiency, waste management, or water conservation, into our everyday operation. Our aim is not only just to grow, but to grow responsibly and meaningfully. We also remain deeply committed to our people and our communities. A culture of innovation, learning, inclusivity empowers our team to thrive. Our community initiative in health, education, and social welfare reflect our broader mission of creating lasting value for all stakeholders. With the confidence in our strategy, the strength of our infrastructure, and the passion of our people, I believe Innova is well poised for the next phase of sustainable and inclusive growth. Financial performance, standalone performance. During the year under review, on standalone basis, revenue from operation was 958 crore in FY 2025 versus 864 crore in FY 24. This growth has influenced by the price adjustment of the products under the cost plus model and the prevailing API prices. The earning before tax, interest and depreciation and amortization, that is EBITDA, for FY 25 was at 139 crore with a profit for the year of 89 crore. In comparison, for FY 24, the company reported a EBITDA of 118 crore and a profit for the year at 68 crore. Therefore, the company on a standalone basis showed a growth of 17% in EBITDA and 31% in PAT on a year-on-year basis. Consolidated performance. During the year under review, on consolidated basis, the revenue from operation was 1,243 crore in FY 25, which was 15% higher than the revenue of 1,081 crore in FY 24. The EBITDA for FY 25 was 198 crore as compared to 166 crore in FY 24, showing a growth of 90% on year-on-year basis. The consolidated profit for the year also grew by 36% to 128 crore in FY 25 from 94 crore in FY 24. In our shareholder, partners and employees, thank you for your continuing trust and support. Together, we will build a stronger, more resilient and future-ready Innova. Thank you. I would like to now hand over the proceeding to Niharika.
Thank you, Vinay sir. The notice of 21st Annual General Meeting and Annual Report containing audited financial statement, including both standalone and consolidated financial statement of the company for the year ended 31st March 2025 and board and auditor report were sent to you in terms of relevant MCA and SEBI circulars. With the permission of all board members and shareholders present at the meeting, we take a notice of AGM as received and read. The statutory auditors, BSR and Co LLP, Chartered Accountant, have expressed no qualification, reservation, or adverse remark opinion in statutory auditor's report of the company. The notes on financial statement referred in auditor's report are self-explanatory and do not call for any comment or explanation. Also, there were no qualification, reservation, or adverse remark in secretarial audit report of Messrs. Jasprit Dhawan and Associates, the secretarial auditor of the company. Mr. Manish L. Ghia from Manish Ghia and Associate, Company Secretary in practice, has been appointed as scrutinizer for the process of remote e-voting as well as e-voting at the 21st Annual General Meeting. As directed by the chair, we now take up resolution as set forth in the notice. The notice of AGM include 4 agenda items, in which item number 1 to 2 are listed as ordinary business and item number 3 to 4 are listed as a special business, which the board deemed necessary to put forth in this meeting. Ordinary business. Agenda item number 1 is to receive, consider and adopt audited standalone and consolidated financial statement for financial year ended 31st March 2025, together with report of auditors and board of directors of the company. Agenda item number 2, to reappoint Mr. Archit Agrawal, DIN 08127356, non-executive director, as he was liable to retire by rotation and being eligible, offer himself for reappointment. Now, moving on a special business, agenda item number 3 relates to appointment of Messrs. Jasprit Dhawan and Associates as a secretarial auditor of the company for a term of 5 consecutive years from financial year 2025-26 to financial year 29-30. The agenda item number 4 relates to ratification of remuneration of Gurvinder Chopra and company cost auditor for financial year 2025-26. Information as required under secretarial standard on general meeting and under SEBI regulation with respect to above special business has been provided with the AGM notice and explanatory statement thereto. With the chair's permission, we will now begin a question answer session. Members are requested to keep their question brief and specific. Kindly turn on your video when you are projected on the broadcast screen and proceed to ask a question. Members are requested to note that to avoid a repetition, management will respond all the questions after all the speaker shareholder and non-speaker shareholder have asked their questions. I now invite moderator to commence the question answer session.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin with the question and answer session. Shareholders are requested to mention their name and location from where they are joining. We will now call upon Ms. Lekha Shah, our first speaker shareholder.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I'm very much thankful to our company secretary for giving me this opportunity and for smooth process where I'm able to talk in front of you all in AGM. Chairman, sir, in your opening remarks were so insightful and comprehensive that you have already addressed everything I had in mind. Sir, I support all the resolutions. Please continue video conference meeting in future. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker shareholder, Mr. Sarvajit Singh and Mr. Manjeet Singh, has registered, however, has not joined the meeting. Hence, we will take that as the last question. I will now hand it over back to the management. Over to you.
So thank you, speaker shareholders, for your question. Apart from the question asked by speaker shareholders, we have received some question through email also. Mr. Vinay Hariwala and Mr. Lokesh Basin. I would like now authorize Niharika to inform you about the voting procedure and conclude the meeting. On behalf of the board, I once again thank you for taking the time to join us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Member, please note, e-voting on NSDL platform will remain available for next 30 minutes. Therefore, members who have not casted their votes till now are requested to do so. We will publish the voting result along with scrutinizer report within 2 working days of conclusion of this meeting. These results will be accessible on company's website, NSDL e-voting platform and stock exchange website. On behalf of our shareholders, I would like to extend our gratitude to the chairman, board of directors and auditor for their contribution. Thank you once again to all members for your participation today.